Hello and welcome to Serendipity Intended. It is day 30 of the Junk Journal July 2025 challenge. Our prompt for today is favorite place. And of course, I had to choose the beach. So I gathered some pieces, not a whole lot. This is going to be fairly quick, just some simple collage. I like these pieces together. I think they are all related to the beach, and they also look good with my paper doll. I'm going to use some matte gel to put them down, mostly because I want to put a layer underneath and then cover the whole thing with a layer because I'm going to put a little bit of paint on top. So I'm going to use this rubber spatula to apply the matte gel fairly thinly, and also to try and keep from getting too much in the rings and holes so that the paper will continue to turn once everything is dry. So with an even coat, then go ahead and adhere the various pieces back onto the page. Since that piece overlapped onto the first bit of collage I put down, I needed to put some matte gel underneath of it, and then here I'm going over the entire thing with some more matte gel. I hope that you have been watching lots of different creators and their videos as you have been working on your own challenges. I have, and I've really been not only enjoying the process, but also learning a lot from others. It is always interesting to me how we can learn so much from other creators, even when their styles might be different from our own. And here again, I'm using my tried and true colored pencil technique to brighten the color of this paper doll a bit and make her a little bit more my own. The other thing that this effect does, besides allow the colors to pop a little bit better, is that it makes the image appear more hand-drawn and less like something that I just printed out and put on the page. Now, I know I didn't create it, but in terms of how it feels in the page, it feels a little bit more my own and a little less just something that I cut out and glued down. Trying to find the right color here for the umbrella. It can be a little bit tricky to color edges, particularly when they're a little bit delicate or not just square. If you do that after you've cut the shape out. That's why I didn't cut the white part between her legs out until I was completely finished coloring her, because that made it so much easier to color her legs than it would have been had I cut them out, or cut the center out afterwards. I have really loved all of the paper dolls that I've included in my journal, but this one is probably my favorite. right, so now it's time, with everything dry, to go ahead and glue her down. And I'm going to make quick marks just so I can see approximately where she is on the page, because then I'm going to take some acrylic paint. It's not quite a white. It's a little bit creamier than that. And then just using my paint to mark sort of an outline. And then I'm just gonna, not real thick, I wanted it to be light and a little bit translucent so that you could still see the images underneath. But to create a little bit of ghosting around her, just to make her pop a little bit off of the page. And you see me putting it down and picking it back up. That's because I'm trying to decide where I need to put the paint. And that really is based on where the image is. I just want the slightest amount of ghosting. So I mentioned earlier enjoying looking at other people's pages, and one of the artists who I've been looking at did a spread where she used crackle paint, and I really liked the effect. So I thought it could be interesting to use that crackle paint on top of the white paint, just to add a little bit of extra texture. And then I also thought I would carry it onto the edges of the pages, just to bring things more together. And it wasn't really crackling, so I thought I remembered that you should use could use a drying tool to make it a little bit drier, or dry a little bit faster. And so I did that, but I really wasn't seeing anything. So then I thought, well, maybe I didn't put it on thick enough. So I added a little bit more, and I added it more thickly, or thicker than I had originally, and then tried it again. Unfortunately, it didn't really crackle, so I'm not sure what I did wrong. It just left a little bit of shine on the page, which I didn't mind on the edges of the paper because it kind of looked like water, and I decided that that was okay, but it did sort of bug me on the white parts. So I added a lot more paint on the center and then just a little bit on the outside edges, just to temper that shine a tiny bit. There's still a little bit of shine there, but not as much. Then I decided that I didn't care for the picture on the other side. So I found this quote in another book that I had purchased, and I thought it fit in the book, the colors fit the theme of the journal, and that it looked particularly nice opposite the page I just created. So I used my wavy edge ruler to tear it down to size. You can see my very scientific eyeballing method there. And once I had it down to the right size, and again, I wasn't particularly concerned that I could see some of the page underneath. I just didn't want it to hang off the edge too far. You can see I had to trim just a teeny bit more because it was hanging over just a bit too much. And then to give it a little bit of that vintage feel, I used some distressed ink to add that around the edge, just to tie the left side in a little bit better visually with the right side. Because I was putting glue so close to the edge, I did put a piece of wax paper underneath just in case it dribbled out, so that the glue would get on the wax paper and not on the page underneath. And then made sure it was down real well. And then really the only other thing to do for the page itself was to add her and to add the label, as I've been doing on each of the pages. This one was particularly long because of the number of letters in favorite place. So I decided that in this instance I would actually have her stand on the label, which is why I waited until last to adhere her. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and consider subscribing to my channel. I had a great time today. I hope you did too. And as always, I hope you make a very great day. Bye.